Standing up for what's true, to show reality just the way it is.
Arey, what nonsense are you talking about? Are you telling me tu agar case haar bhi gayi, it's okay? Kashyap, are you even listening to yourself? Huh? I can see your future ahead of me now. There's a long list of clients here waiting to be represented by you. Bright future hai aapka, Miss Kaze.
Wow.
So bright. So bright.
You haven't changed one bit, Mr. Deepak Rana.
No, I haven't.
College में वैसे ही थे तुम. You know, you had twisted views on law. Sahi, galat was never that important, was it?
Okay, so here's what I can do for you. Why don't you tell me how you see it, and I'll tell you what I think about it.
Oh wow, you finally want to know what I have to say.
I always want to know what you want to have to say.
Okay. Well, कानून की ज़रूरत क्या है? In simple terms, isn't it a culmination of society's agreed upon rules? Sahi और गलत का अंतर? Isn't it the purpose of law to provide justice, to resolve conflict, to punish those who are wrong and immoral?
I completely and fully object. सवाल morality का नहीं है, my friend. It's about being deemed innocent until absolutely proven guilty without a shadow of doubt. And yes, if a client comes to me, then it is my duty to look at him objectively and presume his innocence. A wise man once said, it's not a lawyer's job to make moral judgments.
Of course. But are you telling me that as a person, you would dedicatedly defend someone who has committed a crime, who has ruthlessly killed someone innocent? I mean, where is your conscience as a person in all of this?
Yes, I would defend him, and it is my duty to remind you also, Miss Kaze, that an act does not make a person guilty unless his mind is also guilty. Let me repeat that for you. An act does not make a person guilty unless his mind is also guilty. So there's no two thoughts about it. Everyone deserves a defense until proven guilty.
Well, I aced law college, I know all of this.
Oh.
But basically, इसे किसी भी हालत में बस सिर्फ जीतना है. That's what he's concerned
I'm just
with.
saying that shouldn't we do our job just to the best of our abilities, Shefali?
Of course. But you know what? If you actually think about it, things are black and white. You know, if you actually think about it. Grey can be an excuse sometimes. Anyway, आप लोगों को क्या लगता है? आप किसकी तरफ हैं? Would you put your values, your morality, your conscience on the line only to be practicing your job? Where would you draw the line?
Good choice, right here.
Now that is the big question here, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it? Where would you draw the line? और इस सवाल का जवाब तो शो देखकर ही मिलेगा. But before I physically get ahead of myself, can you please, Mitra playing Deepak Rana. Keep those claps coming. Thank you so much. Wow, this is a very nice, friendly, warm house. It feels so nice to be in an auditorium, mask-free. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, everybody. My name is Rohini, and I want to give a special welcome to the young minds who are also sharing this auditorium with us. You are the future men, so give them a big hand, please. Thank you. On either side. A special note of thanks to NMIMS, that is Narsi Monji Institute of Management Studies, for allowing us to organize this special event at their premises. Can we please give it up for NMIMS, please? Thank you. All right, yes, you know, it takes me back to my college days where there'd be some exciting things happening in my foyer, but nothing as exciting as this. I mean, just imagine, today we're gathered here for the official trailer launch of Amazon Prime Video's first ever legal drama, Guilty Minds. Yes, lots of claps. I'm getting the rhythm of this. I'm going to say things and you're going to clap. This is amazing. Hello! Hi, Aparna.
Hello and hello. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this extremely special afternoon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And really heartfelt gratitude to Narsi Monji Institute of Management Studies, Dr. Paritosh Basu, and the entire faculty of MBA Law for giving us this platform, for giving us this opportunity to interact with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You know, every show of ours is our labor of love. It goes through many a months of iteration, ideation, arguments, and the creators pouring their lives onto paper. And finally, when you see that on screen, it's nothing short of magic. So this is truly a momentous occasion. Guilty Minds is a very, very special show for us. At Amazon Prime Video, we pride ourselves in bringing stories to our audiences that are truly rooted in our soil, that are from the nooks and corners of our country. We've brought you shows like Mirzapur, Inside
Sweetie!
Mirzapur, Family Man, Bandish Bandits, Inside Edge, Forgotten Army. It's a long list. But Guilty Minds is our first attempt at a legal drama. So we are a little anxious. This is a show that explores the intricacies of the law, the blacks, the whites, and the many, many grays that exist. And I'm so glad that our creator, Shefali Bhushan, and the co-creator, Jayant Somalkar, have brought an authentic, sensitive, and a very, very balanced portrayal of the courtrooms and the lawyers to this show. This is an extremely proud moment for us. Thank you so much, and I hope this show will make you pause, reflect, ponder, and question many, many things. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Parna.
Thank you.
May I just say, ladies and gentlemen, for someone who heads anything, okay, the passion with which you represent Amazon Prime Video, that's what inspires every woman in this room today. So thank you, Aparna.
Thank you.
Thank you for believing in your shows, okay, like you do. Of
I'd
course,
be guilty if I don't.
Well,
Thank you.
touche. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to... Aparna, actually, I'd love for you to stay on stage with us while I invite the brains behind the show, the creator and the director of Guilty Minds, Shefali Bhushan. A big hand, please. Thank you. All yours, Shefali.
All right. Thank you so much. I wish I could see you all. Can we have a little bit of light over there? Thank you, firstly, to Amazon Prime Video. There would be no Guilty Minds, there would be no show if they didn't, and Aparna didn't, just recognize a good idea, good content, and really put heart and soul and money behind doing that, behind taking it to the viewers. So absolutely my heartfelt, very, very deep thanks, because it's rare. I have spent enough years going from pillar to post trying to convince producers about ideas that are really going to be liked by audiences and that have some solid content which people are going to think about and talk about. And perhaps in our own little ways, we'll make some difference to how people are perceiving issues, and we are going to make them think about it. That has been our attempt, mine and my co-director Jayant Somalkar's. And that is what we have attempted and been hugely supported by Amazon Prime Video, Aparna, Sahira, and the entire team. I'm amazed at the kind of support I'm getting from the marketing team, from the PR team, from the production team, the post team, all the Amazon teams. And teams actually bring me to the main crux of the matter. This medium is teamwork. And I really believe that it works on human relationships. That's what we are trying to portray on screen. Those are my briefs to my actors. Always about understanding motivation of what that human being might be trying to convey. It is about creating moments. For me, it's all about moments, this medium. It's really, if there is a few moments that a viewer connects to and feels they relate to, and they feel like, oh, I would have done that, or maybe I would not have done that in this situation. If it's real, then it hits home if it touches my viewer, if it makes them laugh or makes them cry, even once in an episode of 45 minutes, then I feel like my job is done. So I really want to thank my entire team. Of course, my co-director Jayant, without whom I would not have been able to do this at all. My producer Karan, my co-producers Antra, Naved, all my HODs. Such brilliant creative minds and their teams. We have become like a really large family. I'm not exaggerating. You should just see the parties that we have. We party all the time together. They will vouch for it, all of these people over here. So yes, I feel that's the way filmmaking should, because that is for you all to see, and hopefully, I really sincerely hope you will shower your love and you will spread the word. Please see the trailer as we are going to present it to you. I'm very grateful to the universe for this show to see the light of day like this.
Thank you, Shefali. Thank you so much. Wow, gentlemen. Yeah, let's keep that excitement. Can I please request all of us to follow me as we exit the stage? Eyes on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Could we please watch the trailer of Guilty Minds? Shreya, thank you so much for joining us. Once again, Varun Mitra, Monica Datta, and Ravindra Suryavanshi. Have a seat, please. Wherever you'd like to. Wherever you'd like to. Kindly have a seat. Hi. Thanks, Monica. Thank you for joining us. And Ravindra, is Ravindra joining us? Thank you. Thank you so much. So I just want to say, man, I saw that trailer and Law never looked this good. Okay, unless we don't know something that you know, Shefali. You know, so really, thank you. And this comes from a personal space. You know a little bit about this world. What is it about this world that intrigued you the most? Why don't you tell me?
I do know a little bit about this world because I've grown up in a family of lawyers. I think my paternal, maternal grandfathers were both lawyers. My father's been a lawyer all his life. In his 96th year, he just fought a case in the Supreme Court virtually.
Wow!
Just the other day, Mr. Shanti Bhushan.
Dr. Basu,
And both my brothers, my sisters-in-law, my nephews, I mean, the list is endless. So I've seen law very up close. Thankfully not been behind bars or in court or having anybody to defend me, but yes, I've seen it. What intrigues me is that it has two sides.
Yes.
I mean, you know, every issue has two sides. That is the most intriguing. There isn't anything that can be said that this is
Black and
right or
white.
that is wrong.
And-
There are
and-
arguments.
You know, very nicely, you're wearing black and white today, so I just want to call attention to that. Having said that, thank you so much for answering my question. Dr. Basu, you do a way better job than me on this one, so I'm going to ask my wonderful audience to please give them a big hand again. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Basu. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So here we are, and we have a galaxy of panel members consisting of specialist lawyers and the director herself and the two actors who have enacted this show. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. There is a school of thought that real-life trials in courtroom, movies, are made for each other. That means what happens in a courtroom and what happens in a movie and show, they are made for each other. The lawyers tell the stories, right? The courtroom provides the theater, and the proceedings gives us a lot of drama, surprise, suspense, and sometimes even comedy. If that happens, what is depicted in the movie or show and what is depicted in a courtroom, real-life proceedings, is it the same? Does it match? I do not know. My distinguished panelists will come and help us to understand. So our effort is to shed light on the courtroom proceedings in actual life vis-a-vis what has been shown in various traditional films and movies, and now what you have seen in the trailer. So what we are going to do, through this panel we'll try to shed reality and shed light on established authenticity of what is there in Guilty Minds. And if that be so, you must have understood from proceedings so far of this event that a lot of research has gone behind it. lot of work has gone behind it, as we have heard from my distinguished panelist, Chef Ali. So in the backdrop of that, let us start the discussion. And when I start the discussion, we will like to keep you in mind that we'll rotate the discussion points, and each of my panelists will be having 2 questions in rotation. Fine? Okay, I'll start with Advocate Monica Datta. Advocate Datta, we like the common people here, and you as an advocate, all of us must have seen various movies and shows, right? And you particularly as an advocate, must have seen the actual real-life courtroom proceedings, right? So, can you please tell us what really transpires in a real-life courtroom versus what we see in the film and shows? Is there any similarity? Is there any truth of life? Or is there any difference?
Thank you so much, Dr. Basu, and very good afternoon to all of you. That's a very interesting question you asked, Dr. Basu, and while I believe that films and actually I think audiences love this gotcha moment, right? Like, think of this scene in a Hindi film I've watched growing up, where the hero prosecutor who is asking rapid fire questions, for the, and he's, his pitch is going up and up and up, and he asks questions after questions, which leads, and they're leading questions, and the person in the witness box will just, drop dead and say, "Ha, ye qatl maine hi kiya hai," right? Now contrast that to a real life courtroom where the first question will be asked by the prosecutor. He will actually read the question from a paper. The stenographer will look up, look down, and then he will start typing the question. Then the witness will look, is it my turn to speak? And the judge will look at him and say, yes. And then he will answer. And then the stenographer is going to type it again. And more often than not, the judge is going to repeat the answer. Now, I am also reminded of my first day at court, which was years ago, where I was obviously led by a senior counsel, and it was a trademark infringement matter. And I was super excited. The court called the matter. We went up. I was all, gung-ho. I had my files. I had my arguments, everything wrapped up. And the judge came. The senior counsel said, this is a trademark infringement matter. We are looking for an injunction. The judge looked up and said, yes, I've read the file, counsel, and I'm granting the injunction. And it all happened in a brief moment of not more than 30 seconds. And I just stopped and I said, hey, what happened here? I actually looked at him and said, did we just get the injunction? Did we get an order? Have we won the case? I did not understand what was going on, and that was, not what I was hoping to see. But that does not mean that theatrical magic doesn't happen in courts. It does. I mean, we hear stories of, the legendary Fali Nariman, for example, in his op-ed on the occasion of the birthday of Mr. Daftari, who is a legendary jurist, of course, all law students would know of him. And he recounted this interesting piece of incident where after he finished his arguments at the court, he sat down. And Mr. Daftari, rose and he started coughing violently. And the judges were really disturbed. And they're like, Mr. Daftari, are you all right? Are you all right? Why don't you have a glass of water? And Mr. Daftari just, went back and he said, and that is what he was hoping to hear. And he said, well, I'm quite all right, Your Lordship. It's just this, that I'm trouble swallowing the arguments of my learned counsel in the opposite side. So that's the theatrical magic for you. And I'm sure this is what inspires lovely and talented filmmakers like Shefali here. And that is where we see the drama, what we see. So you see it and you hear it. So there is this everyday life, and then there are these legends and the legendary gentlemen and women who are out there making history. And then we have them. So yeah.
Thank you so much. You have really, really explained the position here. I'll now come to Shefali. Shefali, first of all, let me congratulate you and your entire team for such a wonderful work you have done. And a big round of applause from the audience for Shefali and our team members. Our idea to ask this question is that this particular film you must have done with a lot of research in not only in legal domain, but definitely in the various dimensions of the societal domain. I'm sure what all research you have done, you will kindly give us some views about it. And my objective to ask this question is to help the audience to understand that through this drama, some differentiation has been created. How the courtroom scenes are to be enacted in a movie show like this, and how it is done in a traditional legal.
I mean, I think we were also a little handicapped, as Monica said, that one cannot show it absolutely accurately. Judgments take years to sometimes get delivered, and we have a judgment coming at the end of every episode,
Right.
which is definitely far away from reality. Also, like she was elaborating, there are lawyers like Mr. Daftari, who was brilliant, many others, including my father, who are very dramatic in their approach in court. So there is a lot of drama, there is a lot of laughter. Both Varun, Shreya, many of the other actors playing lawyers would ask me that, is it filmy? Is this a little too filmy, or is it like this? I said, no, I myself have seen it. I've attended court when some really good lawyers are arguing, and it's very entertaining. It is very engaging. It is almost like theatrics.
Correct.
So I think all lawyers definitely have acting ambitions as well.
In fact, theatrics is definitely needed. Varun, you represent the sun god.
I represent
You represent the sun god.
Sun God.
You represent the earth and everything. And now in this film you represent the legal world along with your co-actress, right? So if that be so, I have a very interesting question, because I have never faced a situation like today's panel, because I have always been amongst professionals. And now you are also a professional, but you are an actor. Huh? Keeping that perspective in view, may I ask you a very simple question? How, as an actor, you prepared yourself and got into the skin and below the skin of a lawyer to understand what you have to portray and enact? This is my first question. And second question, do you think that what you have seen in movies and shows before, have they really helped you to enact the role you have played? Or it is your director who has created a lot of difference in you?
So as far as the research is concerned, we started by picking Shefali's brain, because she's surrounded by lawyers. She's been to many law court situations.
Law is in her blood only.
Yeah, it is. It is. She's the only one in the family who's not a lawyer, apparently. So we picked her brain. She told us about her father, her brother, many other lawyers she knew, and the kind of mindset that they had when they were picking up a case or getting into a case or walking to court. Like she mentioned about somebody that when they take on a case, they blindly believe in it completely. And I think that was a very strong aspect for Deepak. And a lot of little nuances like that which came from her and Jayant were the basis of the character. And also what happened was that I went to the trial court in Mumbai, and there was this guy over there we walked into many courtrooms, there were sessions going on in there. And there was this one particular lawyer who was there, and my friend who was taking us, she said that, he's the favorite of the lot over here. And I saw him argue the case, and he was quite flamboyant about what he was doing and the way he was arguing. And my friend also said that he's a favorite over here. He kind of gets his way with the judges, and he walked in and out of court with a little swagger in him. And I feel like I was almost destined to sort of see him that day, because it just gave me that conviction to sort of play Deepak in that sense. Because Deepak is very energetic and animated and also honest at the same time. So I went back home that day, and I think, everything was just playing in my mind. The whole day was just replaying. And I think what was the main thing that I took away from him was that he really looked like he was having fun. with what he was doing, it looked like he came alive when he was arguing that case. Like a lot of us come alive when we're in front of the camera or on stage like this. So I think that was something that I could sort of relate to. And after that, it was like, see, if another actor was playing this role, he would play it differently. So I saw it like that, and I said, if I was to be a lawyer, how would I argue the case? What would be my theatrics, so to say? So, yeah, a little bit of this, little bit of that.
Thank you. Thank you. Shreya, why did I tell Varun that you represent the sun god? Here, lawyers reflect light on cases which are generally prima facie considered to be dark. And I'm extremely thankful and congratulate to you all for shedding light on the facts which Shefali has understood and she has tried to convey on it. So you have taken out the darker side of the fact and you have thrown light on it and you have made everything black and white. In that context, let me congratulate both of you and your director profusely for doing such a good job. And I'm trying to ask you the same question. What efforts have gone from your side to internalize the role? Point number one. And point number two, what you have done or what you have thought through to create a differentiation between what we see traditionally in movies and shows versus what you have enacted in the drama?
Thank you so much for your question. And I have to say that this feels so surreal to be here. Thank you so much, Amazon, for giving Guilty Minds the release that it deserves. Thank you, everyone at Singro and the entire cast and crew. Because let's not forget, we started shooting for Guilty Minds just before the pandemic hit India. So we've seen 2 lockdowns, and through all the rules and regulations, through faith and patience, we are finally here. So this feels wonderful. And to answer your question, my basic starting point was Shefali. I had to surrender myself to her vision because I feel like Kashaf, when I read the name Kashaf Kaze, the day I was going to audition for this part, I'm not kidding, I felt a certain vibe, a certain connect, and I felt like I knew this person and I wanted to know this person. So I feel like this project called out to me in a way. And my biggest fear was, while taking on the show, was that it shouldn't look like we're trying really hard to be lawyers.
Correct.
And of course, like Varun, I also went to the High Court in Delhi. I attended a few sessions, and unlike his exciting viewing, mine was a very calm, everyone was talking in a normal way. I said, wait, this is what happens? Where is the drama? This has been a lie all this while. So it was nice to see how normal it was. And something that our show does very beautifully, and in all objectivity I can say this, is when you watch all the episodes, when you see even the way we've shown our quotes, the art direction is so brilliant and it's so authentic that I feel like as actors, all of that contributed to us feeling present. And I spoke to a lot of lawyer friends and I realized that eventually these are people who are fighting cases and everyone's going to bring in their own personality. So besides the fact that we had to learn a whole lot of lines and know a whole lot of legal terms, I think at the end of it, it was important to just know, and like Shefali told me, she told me on my first day of shoot, don't try to be Kashaf, trust you are Kashaf, and then do it. So that really stayed with me, and eventually I just had to really believe that this is what I think, because Shreya does not think life is black and white. Shreya thinks it's grey. But Kashaf has some very strong opinions and very strong ideals, and she's very righteous. And that itself was not easy to play. It's perhaps the most complex and challenging part I've had to play.
Actually, that was the word bothering me, what is grey. But how could you fight with such a decent guy?
Decent? Sure.
He is a decent guy, right?
I'm so decent.
He-
Thank you, sir, for highlighting that.
But in courtroom, all that difference matters, right?
Absolutely. And in fact, we had the best time arguing, and many a times we would just do these really long takes, no cuts. And we had such a good time, and there were moments that we both had an out-of-body experience where we got so overwhelmed, especially one of the third episode for me personally, where we got so overwhelmed while arguing and while speaking for our respective causes that I didn't realize when Shreya took over and when Kashyap sort of took a step back, because we really felt each and everything, and after that we just hugged each other saying this is so rare for an actor to experience. And it was beautiful. I have such wonderful memories and I'm really grateful for this experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll come to you, Advocate Suryavanshi. The point I have mentioned in my prelude is that lawyers tell stories to set the context and to argue the case, to establish facts. I do not know which side of the fact he or she is going to do that. And we also say that the courtroom provides the theatrics. The total process brings a lot of amazing stuff like drama, surprise, suspense, etc., etc. You have also seen movies and you have also argued. In the light of your experience, could you share with us whether all these are true? That it's a drama, it's a suspense, it's a surprise, and finally, you tell stories as lawyers?
Thank you, Mr. Basu. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to say that except calling it a theatre, there is everything. There is suspense, there is comedy, there is thrill. Theatre, I am saying it's not theatre only in one sense because nothing is scripted. Unlike theatre, everything is scripted, you know what is going to come up. But as a lawyer, we prepare our case. Everything is submitted to the court beforehand. So court and the other side, they know both the sides, what are they going to come. But while arguing and while the case, the way it develops, sometimes other side throws some googly, something, and then you are sometimes caught off guard. So you don't know what to say because you had not prepared for these questions. So all these things, so therefore it is not scripted. So theatre, it is not theatre in that sense. Apart from that, as I told you, there is suspense, comedy, drama, and I can narrate few practical experiences from the courtroom. We were waiting for our matter in Supreme Court. It was Justice Kajju's court. So we were waiting for our matter to reach, and before that, in one of the matters, a young junior advocate, he stood up for when the matter was called out, and he said, "Your Lordship, can you please keep back our matter, as our senior is held up in some other court." So Justice Kajju, you know, he is very witty sometimes, and he is upfront. So he said, "No, you argue the matter. We will not wait for the senior." So the junior advocate was not actually prepared for the matter. So he was fumbling. And he could not argue. So Justice Kajju asked him, "Gentlemen, what do you want? What order do you want from us?" He said, "I want bail for my client." Justice Kajju said, "Granted." He was shocked. Because, you know, in Supreme Court, judges come read. They read everything, they come well prepared. So they know what judgment they are going to pass. So he surprised that junior advocate by just granting without argument. And he told him, "Now go and tell your senior that you argued fantastically." And on the same day, our matter was to reach. Our very senior counsel, when matter was called out, he reached, say, some 10-15 seconds later. And Justice Kajju said, "I will not tell the name, Mr. So-and-so, कितने मैटर करोगे एक दिन में? सारा मलाई आप ही खाओगे, दूसरों को भी थोड़ा खाने दो." In the open court. So everybody started laughing.
So drama also happens.
Drama also happens.
Okay.
And suspense is basically like, in the end, we all are, even today, all of us, even Monica will concur with that, we all are actually excited and equally nervous to see what judgment will come out. Even when our matter is good, you never know how the case will turn. So it's like that.
So a judgment is an aha moment for somebody and a matter of shock for somebody, right? Albeit she or he is prepared. I'll come to you, Advocate Datta. Very simple and very interesting question. I would like to say that entire judicial system of a country is instrumental in finding the right thing, fixing the wrong thing, and punishing the wrongdoers by establishing fairness of judgment. And also, at times, judgments are delayed, but that's a part. They are also bound by the provisions of law, and at times they, with their wisdom, redefine the law and say the law has been wrongly enacted. Because their judicial mind, their quest of truth, and their wisdom and experience drive them to establish the facts and positions, and also so the lawyers also do the same thing. In the context of that, what we have seen in movies and dramas and shows versus what you have seen in the trailer here and what you have heard so far, how do you think a difference has been created? Do you think that really it's going to stand out Guilty Minds?
Well, I think and I believe that there is a kashaf in every lawyer, right? I believe in that magic, right? Even after these many years, I'm not a cynic. So here it is, you know, and this is an interesting one. A few years ago, not very many years ago, I don't know if many people, if someone is here from Delhi, there was this whole thing about, you know, school admissions are very, very controversial, to say the least, nursery admissions. And there was some circular which the Delhi Administrative Authority came up with, which kind of retrospectively asked the parents to comply with rules which they couldn't do. So the parents had moved the High Court, and they, you know, they were represented and led by a senior counsel here. But one of the parents was not really convinced that the judge was following what the condition of the parents are, considering so many students would be sitting at home because a rule would apply retrospectively. So with the permission of the court, at the Delhi High Court, she genuinely got up, and Ravi, you will be surprised to hear this, and she argued, a non-lawyer, and she got the revocation of the circular. And that's magic for you, right? Now, does that mean that this magic happens every day? Absolutely not. Does that mean that all of you should just stand up in a court and start arguing? Absolutely not. But, you know, magic happens. So these kind of moments do occur. Then look at movies like Jai Bhim, another Prime Video brilliant movie. Or look at what they're showing in Guilty Minds. You know, look at No One Killed Jessica. What are they? They're actually a rendition of what happened in reality. And they were shown cinematically. But sure, they showed what's actually happening. Look at a judge who argued and became, you know, a lawyer who argued and became a judge. That was what Jai Bhim showed. So I do believe that there is, you know, all of this out there, and you just have to dig deep and find it. So yeah.
Quickly, one question to you, Chef Ali. What are the cutting-edge qualities of this show?
The cutting edge quality is that it doesn't show the gavel, which is shown in every Hindi film. कि वो हथौड़ा है जो वो कहीं Indian court में नहीं होता. No, jokes apart. I think the realistic depiction of the courts, as far as possible, of the issues, the varied issues, because it's important to raise debate. And I hope that the show will play a small part in having people debate. There will be people, I hope, on either side, because we've tried to do that. And people, if people are talking about some questions that this medium is raising, like a web series or a film, then I think the battle is won. That is the cutting edge of this show. The other is that there are fabulous performances by all the actors. So that, again, is really going to be wonderful.
Varun, one more quick question to you, very quick. What all traditional beliefs, faith, learning points, understanding and appreciation you had to shed off when you got into the skin of this role?
Sir, to say it simply, I had to just, as Deepak, I think,
let my flaws show and be okay with whoever he was choosing to be in that moment. So I think that was the hardest part to do, because I think we all tend to hide our flaws. And with Deepak, I think it's just Deepak. He doesn't care about anybody. He is the way he is all over the place. I think that was...
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Share a lot of Generation Z and maybe Generation A lawyers are sitting in the audience. How do you think your role will inspire them to stand out in the audience and say, okay, we the Generation Z lawyers, lady lawyers are in no way worse than or anything not less than anybody who you have seen in the previous generation?
Oh, wow, inspire. It overwhelms me to think it will be amazing if people are actually inspired. Because it's not easy to be a Kashaf, like I said, because you really have to shed off a lot of cynicism in today's world. Because for Kashaf, she really tries to do the right thing. And we all know what happens when people try to do the right thing. So the most beautiful thing is that at the end of the day, we see a person who is really satisfied in leading life a certain way. And that is a choice she's made for herself. So this show was a big learning experience for me, and I myself learned a lot, and I realized that emotionally it must be tough being a lawyer, because there might be times when you perhaps don't necessarily agree, but then you think of it as a profession, there are things you have to do. So it takes a lot. So great that all of you have decided to be in this profession, because it really seems like your emotional quotient needs to be incredibly high, not just your IQ, but your EQ as well. But please do watch the show. It's very entertaining. And the best part is, I guarantee you, because even while performing, we felt this, it was not easy to pick a side at all. Each case, each episode, in a beautiful way, makes you think कि अगर मैं judge होती, मैं lawyer होती, तो मैं कौन सी side defend करती? It's tough. And I think that helps you understand yourself better in the process, you know. So it was very introspective for us in that sense. So please do watch it and let us know what you think.
Thank you. I don't think that it will be good for them to see it once. I think they have to see it many times to sink into the characters and become a good lawyer in future.
Also, I have to say, it's a fun show. It's a legal drama, but it's also super fun, as you can see.
Let me tell you, learning is always a fun. I'm still a student, and I feel learning is always a fun, because this show made me to learn many things, as she was telling me before start of the show. Just one last point for you. Just quickly, your words of wisdom, which you are gathering from this discussion and show, and what message you would like to convey to our students, just in 1 minute's time.
Okay. See, you have actually, the way you have prepared, I've heard you, Shefali, you have done a fantastic job, I must say. And there are a couple of clients who we have seen, they have sat in courtrooms for three months to just understand how actually the proceedings work. So, that kind of preparation people do, and you have also done the same thing. So we wish good luck to your show. And to students, I would say, while studying law, while doing your course, you do everything. You study at the same time, do all other activities, because once you enter into profession, then the competition is cutthroat. I'll just give one example. It's not just about arguing in courts. Things happen even behind the court. Like in Calcutta, I'll just take 30 seconds. In Calcutta, in one of the matters, a senior counsel did not want to argue the matter before a particular judge. And from next day, the assignment were to change. So the counsel asked for adjournment, and judge refused to give the adjournment and kept the matter in the afternoon session. So the counsel, he was so powerful in the bar, he in the afternoon declared a strike, and no counsel, no advocate entered the courtroom.
Okay.
That's how we achieved it.
Thank you, thank you. Thanks to all my panel members. You have done a wonderful job and made me to learn at least and make our students learn. I think we'll have a couple of questions coming from the audience and we have to answer those. But before that, give 3 cheers for Guilty Minds. 3 cheers for Guilty Minds. 3 cheers for Guilty Minds. Our best wishes and prayer for you before the question starts coming. Yes, your questions, please. May the microphones be given to the audience. Please mention to whom your question is addressed to, and I'll request my panel members to address every question just in about a minute's time.
Hello everyone. My question is for Shreya ma'am. As you mentioned that you had to learn certain legal terms for the role. So can you tell us about a couple of them? And how did it feel to step into the role of a lawyer?
I'm not going to tell you any legal terms or get into trouble by discussing anything legal because I've forgotten all those things. We've shot over 2 years, so please forgive my knowledge right now. But I mean, Kashaf is a lawyer who basically public interest litigation is her forte, and her partner Vandana, which is played by Sugandha Garg, both of them together mainly have clients who perhaps need someone to stand up for them. So for her, her main agenda is taking up cases that she's passionate about. That's what my character is about. And what's interesting is that Kashaf Kaze comes from a family of lawyers, and her father is a sitting judge in the Supreme Court, and her grandfather was also a lawyer. So she has a history, like Shefali, a legacy of lawyers in the family. But she has carved a path of her own. So my process in all of this was to trust Shefali to make sure we're not overdoing it, to make sure we're being as authentic. But at the same time, I did have some conversations with my lawyer friends. I attended a few sessions to understand. And eventually, there's just one Kashaf and I had to find her. There was no one particular person I was looking up to saying, I want to play it like that. I think I just instinctively felt her, and that's how I portrayed her.
Thank you. The next question, please. You raise your hand and the microphone will go to you, please.
Hello. My question is to Advocate Ravindra Suryavanshi, sir. As an aspiring lawyer, I have to ask you this. What's one piece of advice that you received when you were first starting out in your career? Can you please share it with us?
Just prepare thoroughly for your matter. Give your 100% because the result is not even in your hand. But if you are, somebody had said that if you feel that you are 1% lacking in preparation, and if you lose the matter, that's because of that 1%.
Thank you. The
ये
next
same
question.
advice actors को भी मिलती है. Same advice. Nothing is in your hands. Just do it.
The next question, please.
My question is to Shreya ma'am. Even though we know the differences between the real legal representation, could you please tell us some similarities between the two, as we might have seen only one side?
I didn't understand. Can you repeat your question?
Could you please tell us some similarities between the real legal representation?
Well, there are quite a few. I mean, the difference, I guess, would be in terms of, as actors, we've taken the liberty, because it's a show, to keep it concise, because realistically, like Shefali said, it would take a long time for cases to be heard, etc. But beyond that, I think, like I mentioned, in terms of the art direction, in terms of how we've shown different kinds of lawyers. So the fun part is that the show has many lawyers also who are arguing, and each one has a different style. Like Suchitra ma'am here, you have Girish Kulkarni sir. Everybody has a very unique style that's come in, and all of them, I think, would have been based on someone or the other that the team would have, I guess, loosely. She's not saying anything, but I mean, lawyers have also been part of writing the show. So it's all coming from an authentic place, I would say. Yeah.
Thank you. I think we'll take 2, 3 more questions. That's all about it.
Good afternoon, everyone. My question is to Shefali ma'am. What can be the takeaways for lawyers, also known as the budding law students, from this series?
So I would really like it if all the lawyers and the law students were to watch it and think about what they might have given the judgment as, and also what other arguments that we could have missed out on could have been woven in, which would have really strengthened either side's case. Because we've really tried to keep it quite accurate legally. So we would love it if you give us feedback on what other arguments we missed out on, or if you find an inaccuracy of a legal argument. So please use it as that kind of material also.
Maybe 2 more questions.
Yeah.
Hi, Shreya, Akruti here. Shreya.
Oh, sorry. Hi.
Hi. Shreya, you said it takes a lot to portray the role of a lawyer. So, what was the most challenging aspect for you?
Just to believe that I'm a lawyer. I mean, as an actor, the most beautiful thing is that we get to live many lifetimes in one lifetime. And law is something I've always been fascinated by. And even though I couldn't pursue it, I feel like for the 52 days that I shot for this series, I could live that aspect, you know, in my own way. And like I said, I really trusted Shefali, and I would just go to her all the time to guide me. So a lot of, if you like my performance, I will take very little credit for it, because it is the guidance that has come. Because I had many stages where I was questioning how I was doing, is it authentic? But eventually, sometimes things just come together, and you just have to have fun and have faith. So I think it's for the audience to decide if how we've all portrayed our parts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Shefali. Hi. Shefali, since you've launched the serial amongst the law students, what do you think they will take away from Guilty Minds? And secondly, how did you choose and pick the stories that you have covered in the series?
I hope that they will enjoy it, firstly, and they will pick up information from it, like I said earlier. And what was your second question? How did I pick the stories? All 4 of us in the writer's room had a huge role in picking up stories. So we thought about it. Jayant is a voracious reader. He really likes to think about issues. Manav is a voracious reader. Diksha is a lawyer. And all of us are interested in the world around us. And so we tried to pull out stories that each of us had a close connection to. And researched it then, and all of us read all the scripts and went over it legally and every which way. So basically there's no dearth of issues. And so hopefully season 2, season 3 and season X, we can keep putting out stories that people want to debate.
In fact, Shefali, the first question you have raised, that stitching of tunes together and bring a new tune, it is exactly artificial intelligence and machine learning is doing. I have written in a paper of mine, and if that cannot be a crime, then how this new tune created is kind of a crime. That's a big question one has to shed light on. Thank you very much indeed.
Shefali, I have a question. Shefali.
Thank you, Dr. Basu. That was fantastic.
Shefali,
Thank you so much. Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. We're running out of time.
One last question, please.
Himali, could we allow that?
One last question to Shefali. Shefali, you have, my name is Siraj Sayed. You have titled your series Guilty Minds, which raises the question of premeditation, which is a very major principle in law. Sentences are often decided on the basis of jaan booch ke, soch samajh ke, ghat laga ke. So, are you examining that area of law as such, or this is just a fancy title?
No, we're definitely examining that area of the law, as I've said earlier. And I just want to pick up your cue and elaborate on Guilty Minds. Our working title was Mens Rea. And as all the law students would and should know,
I would have said that.
yeah, that mens rea is the legal Latin term for the intent, the guilty mind. For an action to be a crime, there also needs to be a guilty mind, and that has to be established by the lawyer. That actually this person intended to commit this crime. So yes, that is what people are proving in court, and we are showing both sides of that. Now, whether the judgment is correct or wrong, that is true in real life, that people will question it. And I hope you all will question it, because those are going to be the gems that we should have of debate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, so we're doing that. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We have a media Q&A coming up. Madam, there's a media Q&A. You're a member of the media. And that is a separate segment. So don't worry, you will get your day and time. Would you please pass on the mic? Thank you. So, thank you. Can I please request all of you to give them a wonderful round of applause? That was amazing. Yes, so interesting, so engaging. Shreya, you are a selfie queen. So I'm going to request all of you to turn around. Turn around, turn around, turn around. It's going to be strange. Couple of steps back, this way. All right? Shreya, I'm going to give you this selfie stick right now. Okay, this is a selfie stick, sir. Inko dijiye, ma'am ko dijiye. Okay, you're bad. Okay, so let me handle it. Let me handle it. Okay? We're going to take 3 selfies. Okay, you know, all these old people taking selfies is hilarious. Hang on, hold it.
Hi, Shreya and Varun. This is Aditi from E-Times. A huge congratulations for A Guilty Mind. I wanted to know one thing. You had mentioned in one of the conversations previous that we were trying really hard to not be lawyers and, not go much overboard with your roles. So as an actor, what were the challenges in finding that balance and actually not go that over the top with your, characterization that way?
Let me rephrase what you just said. By that I meant that we wanted to make sure we were authentic and that we weren't being over dramatic at any points. But like Shefali said, that there are all kinds of, lawyers are also performers in a way, and then you have to bring your own personality into it. So there was no right or wrong about playing a lawyer. That's what I meant when I said that. Varun, would you like to?
My character was supposed to be a little over the
Yeah,
top.
yours
So, yeah, he was more animated, more excited, more evidently passionate about what he was fighting about. And like I said earlier, he was not sort of scared of showing any of it. I mean, he was all out with his emotions. So I think I had to worry about being that dramatic self, and Shefali sometimes used to make me jump before a take to up the energy, because Deepak's energy is very, very high. Like, he's bouncing around. Like, it used to be tiring being him, if I may say.
And contrary to his character, my character was much more inwards, is much more inwards in terms of, as a person, she's not that expressive, but in court, perhaps she has her own way of saying it, but she's not as dramatic and out there as Deepak would be. But if Shreya had to be a lawyer, maybe I would be as dramatic as you are. Thank you.
Hi, this is Pratham. I have a question for the entire panel here. Here, on your left, yeah, guys, here. I'm raising my hand.
Hi. Okay, there. Okay,
good to see all of you. And the question is that, having played the characters that you have played and having created the content that you have created, does that kind of cement your belief in judicial proceedings in our court system? Or do you seriously think that much, much more work needs to be done to be able to arrive at a position where we will not be left as guilty minds?
That's a very complicated question. But can I just take this with your permission? You know, having fought many court cases over the years, many, I'm in and out of court all the time. I'm the court expert. So I can say that Guilty Minds was very close to authentic. The characters were very real. Of course, the time is, of crux, because court proceedings takes years and sometimes decades. But everything was very authentic except for the air conditioning. Indian courts need better air conditioning. I can vouch for that. Our set was fantastic.
Our next question.
Hi, Shefali, straight. Hi. My question to you is, you mentioned the missing gavel in the previous panel. Is there another persistent cliche, not essentially visual, could be a characterization, could be anything, about lawyers in courtroom movies that you were very intent to get rid of? Or do you think we should?
लाइक फिल्मों में होता है ना कि कोर्ट बड़े बड़े होते हैं, बड़े ट्रायल कोर्ट में कि सनी देओल यहाँ से जा रहा है, यहाँ से जा रहा है, ऐसे कर रहा है. तो हमारे यहाँ पे लॉयर ऐसे बस रियल कोर्ट में गए होंगे आप, तो आपको जगह नहीं मिलती, बस आप यहीं से आप जज को एड्रेस करते हो. तो अनफॉर्चुनेटली इन दोनों को ये मौका नहीं मिला कि सनी देओल जैसे तारीख पे तारीख उसे करने का मौका नहीं मिला. तो अब हमने कोशिश की थोड़ा रियल जाए. तो ये और एक पॉइंट और हाँ, और एक विटनेस बॉक्स कि हमने आज तक जितने फिल्मों में देखा है कि विटनेस बॉक्स होता है, कटघरा होता है. सारे कोर्ट में विटनेस बॉक्स नहीं होता, कई कई होते हैं. तो हमने कई विटनेस बॉक्स भी दिखा है, कई नहीं भी दिखा है. जस्ट एक प्लाईवुड का एक छोटा सा बॉक्स होता है, कई कई तो जस्ट एक बेंच होता है, वहाँ पे विटनेस खड़े होते हैं, कई तो कुछ होता भी नहीं, जस्ट विटनेस खड़े होते हैं. सुप्रीम कोर्ट में हमने बहुत सारे आपने फिल्मों देखा होगा कि सारे लॉयर्स और जज जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट में क्या पहनते हैं गाउन, ट्रायल कोर्ट में भी लोग गाउन पहन के आते हैं, जनरली ट्रायल कोर्ट में गाउन लोग नहीं पहनते. तो ये कुछ कुछ बातें हैं जो हमने अवॉइड की, हम थोड़ा रियल रखने की कोशिश की. थैंक यू.
और रियल कोर्ट में ऑर्डर 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 कोई नहीं बोलता.
नहीं होता. और दूसरा, सुप्रीम कोर्ट और हाई कोर्ट में विटनेसेस नहीं बुलाए जाते, गवाही नहीं होती है, सिर्फ लोअर कोर्ट्स में होती है. तो इनफैक्ट वो इस वजह से हमें सारे अपने केसेस मोस्टली लोअर कोर्ट्स में, ट्रायल कोर्ट्स में, सेशंस कोर्ट्स में रखने पड़े, क्योंकि हमें चाहिए था कि विटनेस की क्रॉस क्वेश्चनिंग हो. तो इसलिए ये भी एक कॉमन मिसरिप्रेजेंटेशन होता है.
I have a question for Satish ji. Satish ji, you are on a roll.
Wow.
Satish ji, you are on a roll. Bloody Brothers में देखा आपको, शर्मा जी नमकीन में देखा, और अभी गिल्टी माइंड्स. तो कितना मजा आ रहा है आपको ये सारे किरदार करते हुए अलग अलग माध्यमों में. And now this is of course Amazon Prime. So what does it indicate about the day and age that we are living in and the kind of content that we are creating?
Of course, बहुत मज़ा आ रहा है. मज़ा इसलिए आ रहा है that when you are working with younger generation, younger people, younger mind who are brilliant, and the content which is being created now is far, far superior, far, far meaningful. And for actors to perform, you get characters like you are saying, Bloody Brothers, Handa, which I played, or Sharma Ji Namkeen I played, or in Scam I played, Manu Mundra, or Udta Punjab I played, Taya Ji. So it is a very good position for an actor like me, who has been calendar, Pappu Pager, Muttu Swami, all his life, and trying to please and make people laugh. But here is another side of Satish Kaushik, which is being tapped by younger filmmaker. I'm so happy about it. I'm really enjoying it to prove myself once again that I'm an actor from National School of Drama and I'm a theater actor and I can do anything. So thanks to all these opportunities, thanks opportunity which Shefali gave me, So it's an interesting period and I think it's the best period and I'm trying to prove myself more in coming times.
Yes, ma'am. Finally, आपकी बारी आ ही गई. आइए, बोलिए.
मैं about to wait हो गया. My question is to Varun and Shreya both. So congratulations for the Guilty Minds show. It's a very interesting show because I personally also like law and all. लेकिन मेरा question ये है कि जैसे आपने experience किया ये पूरा whole judicial procedure, तो क्या एक change आप चाहोगे कि judicial procedures में हो, जो आपने feel किया कि for some positive change, जो judicial procedure में आप चाहोगे आए हमारी country के?
That's a tough one.
I mean, the question is very generic. I mean, I guess the hope is always that justice always prevails. That's always the hope. And I'm personally not cynical of it, is what I would say.
I think somebody was saying over here what can happen. I think the improvement can keep happening always. That's what
one can say simply.
I think जितने pending matters हैं वो जल्दी clear हुए. इतना backlog रहता है courts में, इतने time लगता है judgments आने में. That's one of the big things we should aim for and hope for.
तारीख पे तारीख.
तारीख पे तारीख actually सच है.
सच है.
Well, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. That's about it. That's all the time that we have. And I want to say once again, you made a show that goes beyond, just being entertainment. So thank you so much. Both of you, I want to thank you. And also to carry your show ably forward, you have a wonderful cast of people who truly believe in their projects. So congratulations on that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. And before this wonderful cast leave the stage, could I please request you to put your hands together and wish them तहे दिल से. आप इनके तारीख पे तारीख के इंतजार करने की जरूरत नहीं है. 22 अप्रैल को Amazon Prime Video पर देखिएगा जरूर हमारा शो Guilty Minds. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
For our friends from the media and our friends who've been here, if you've joined us today, Amazon Prime Video would like to extend a warm invite for lunch, and that is in lobby 3 this way. Thank you. Yes sir, you need photos? Up करेंगे आपके लिए. कौन